Hey, so thanks for joining us for part one of a two-part interview with Pastor Woody Scott. Man, he has inspired me for well over 25 years, and I know that he's going to inspire you as well. But before we jump in and get started, I just want to share that while he and I were setting this up in regards to time and place and everything, it hit me that in over 25 years of him speaking into my life and pouring into me and asking about how I'm doing and listening to my issues and problems, not once have I ever stopped to ask him his story. Not once have I ever said, tell me about your childhood, tell me about your battles, tell me about your victories. So it's really made me think about how busy we are in our world and how little we really get to know each other. So I want to encourage you that as you go into this interview with Woody and I, that you take the time just to get to know your neighbor. Take a few minutes and stop what you're doing and just say, tell me about you, tell me about your story. Tell me about where you come from. Tell me about your losses and your victories. Tell me about what you hate and tell me about what you love. And I think we may be surprised at how many amazing people and how many amazing friendships may await us out there. So hope you enjoy the interview and hope he inspires you as much as he has me. Well, hey guys, I'm here with Woody Scott. Actually, it's Herbert, but everybody calls him Woody or Woo Doc or all these various things. He's got lots of nicknames. And I've got some nicknames that we won't share in this, but anyway, Woody is one of the guys in my life that has been huge. He has given, tremendous impact on my life. He's been in my life now for probably about 25 years or more, would you say? Mm-hmm. And the first time I met you was at your house, and you started church in the basement of your house. Mm-hmm. And I remember coming and I was like, this is actually pretty good. I like this. And so I like that guy. And so just want to sit down and talk to you about the things going on today. But I would like for people to get to know you because you are phenomenal, special in so many ways. And so would you be willing to just share a little bit about yourself and tell me a little bit about you? Because there's a lot to you. You've pastored for years. You're married. You've been married to this wonderful woman. way better than Mamie's phenomenal. And obviously she's patient and she's kind and she's gentle and all these things. And you've got a wonderful son and all the stuff. But you've got more to it than that. So why don't you just share some of that?
Yeah. Well, Brian, it's a blessing to do this. My story is kind of long, so I'll try to shorten it up and anything with what God did in my life. And as I said, I came up, Dant, Virginia, was where I lived. I was born in the 50s, so I came up doing segregation. That was a big part of my life. Whole lot of things happened back then. I remember that I was telling you about the Green Book. I knew about that. I lived that. Jim Crow, I lived that. I can remember as a young boy, restaurants I couldn't go in and eat, and how we would go to the back door and to be waited on, or you just couldn't go at all. I can remember when my dad got cut off from the coal mine and had to move to New York, and they would put me on a train in Avenue. I would catch the train and go to New York. I had to switch in Washington. My aunt would always meet me in Washington. We'd switch. From Avenue all the way to Washington, I couldn't eat in the dining car because of the color of my skin. And then once you switched to Washington and gone on to New York, things changed. So it was the way things were, and that was a part of it. And then after that, high school integration came along, civil rights, but there was still a lot of things there. But as I say, and I told you, everybody was equal, so a lot of problems that people had other places, we didn't have, the protesting and all those things. We were into sports.
Because you're in Southwest Virginia.
We're in Southwest Virginia.
So it's a little different.
A little different.
Here. I live in the deeper South. And you're in a very predominantly white area with a lot of coal mining history.
I had a band called Woody and the Soul Brothers and had like 5 white guys in it, So
you got to find some white soul brothers.
So it was pretty cool. So all the way through school, we were just buddies and stuff and these things. But when things like that are going on, they're still on your mind. Mm-hmm. They're still there, and things get planted in your heart. And so I went into the Marine Corps. Mm-hmm. And then when I went into the Marine Corps, it has a different face. It has a different face than separation, black power, all these things were kind of happening. And so as I'm hanging around people that were different, and I had a buddy that went in with me on a buddy system, a guy named Steve Hunto that played in my band. We couldn't hang together. He couldn't hang with me and couldn't go with me and stuff. We'd get together and come home. But other than that, we were separated. But there was a whole lot of things. There was a whole lot of hatred. There was a whole lot of bitterness that went on. And I'm the type of, if you hang around the creek bank long enough, you're gonna fall in. Whatever it is, whether it's love or whether it's hate. And so I got into that. And I remember coming home in 1972 after I got out, and one of my friends, he told me later on after he was saved, he said, "You was one of the meanest people I knew." And I said, "Because I hated you, man." And so you got all this hate in your heart, and you're holding all these things, and you're still dealing with a little incident here, a little incident there. I know what it's like to have a gun pointed at my head by a police officer that would blow my head off, only because of the color of my skin. I know what that's like. I know what it's like to be arrested only because of the color of my skin, and told that the pick in my hair when I had the afro was a weapon and things. But as time went on, as I say, I got saved and I accepted Jesus Christ in 1983, and I guess a year later I was preaching. I belonged to the African Methodist Episcopal Zion Church. That's right. Now I was in
the
black church.
African Methodist Episcopal Zion Church.
AME Zion. AME Zion.
Right.
So that's better.
That's why they shortened it.
Yeah. And so became a minister.
Yeah.
Pastor, more like a circuit preacher at one time in Elizabethton, and my mom used to sing, and my mom had sung, and this was before I started preaching, and my mom used to sing in the choir. She had a group called the Harmonettes, and they would go everywhere and sing, black churches, white churches, and there was another group there, a guy named Danny McPeak. I never forget him. I think he lives in Morristown, Tennessee now. I'm not sure, but he was a barber also. Now, I was going all the way to Kingsport to get a haircut because, white folks didn't cut black people's hair. And so my mom was telling him about it. They got to talking, and she was telling him about, me going to Kingsport. And he said, "Well, tell him to come to me." And so she told me, she said, "This guy I met said for you, I'm just in Colbert, said come over here and get your hair cut over there. They got a barbershop stuff." And I'm going, "I ain't letting no white man cut my hair." And so anyway, we go ahead, and my dad started going.
Yeah.
And the haircut looked pretty good, I said, he did a good job on him and everything. So
yeah.
I said, I'm gonna go over and try him out.
Yeah.
Well, from that part, because he was into music too, we became buddies. I became a friend of his family. And he would even show up at my churches sometimes, and I go, "Oh, Lord." But he would show up, and, I'd let him play, and we would talk. And so, he was the part when I became a minister and everything. And he was cutting my hair one day, and he sat there and he said, "You prejudice." I said, "What? I'm a born again Christian." That made me mad. I'm about ready to punch him in the name of Jesus.
Right.
And I said, "What in the world are you talking about?" He said, "You've separated yourself." And I said, "What do you mean I've separated myself?" And he said, "You pastor a black church." And he said, "You bless my family." He said, "You bless me. You've been there for us through our ups and downs." And he said, "I just think you could be a blessing for so many people." During this time, glory, I was reading the 139th Psalm. The last part said, "Lord, search me and know my heart. If you see any wicked way within me, then lead me in the way of everlasting." So I've been reading. Don't, when you pray that prayer, watch out. God will show you.
Yeah, right.
God will show you. And God was getting me ready for this ministry right here then. And so God began to show me, and I went to 1 John and said, "How can you say you love God, whom you've never seen, and hate your brother who you walk with every day?" And all that bitterness and all that stuff was there. And God began to change my heart. And through the Holy Spirit, agape love came in. And that's a love that you choose. Agape is different from all the eros and all the other things. And the filial, that's brother love. I had a whole lot of friends, but agape love changed my heart. If you remember when Saul became king and he got ready to walk away, it said God changed his heart.
Oh, yeah.
God changed my heart. He gave me a love for people. And so when we started the church in the basement, I didn't know who was coming. It was just 7 of us.
Yeah.
And I started church. And all these folks started coming. And I was loving people. And I realized that most of them was white. Your brother came bouncing down the stairs, long blonde hair.
That's what he had.
Yeah. And was like my own child.
Yeah.
Would stay with us. Yeah. Just loving on him and stuff. And so, somebody asked me, so what is it? What is it about the ministry? And I said, it's love.
Yeah.
And so, with all the things that are going on today and all this that is happening, it's still love. Everybody's got an opinion. Yeah. Everybody's got an opinion. But love changes things. Hate just brings more hate. And I've made up my mind, I am not going to hate. I'm not going to, you don't like me or whatever, I'm not going to hate. I'm not going to live in hate, because all hate does is bring more hate. Yeah. And so through the power of the Holy Spirit, I've learned to love past the hate.
That's one of the things that I feel like that I've learned a lot over the last 10 years since I moved to a culture that's like this area is 99% white.
Yeah.
So, you don't come up knowing some of the things that you learn when you are introduced into a culture that's 60% black and 40% white. So it's just been over the last 10 years that I've never been a racist, but at the same time, I've never really went out of my way to learn anything about the things that you have endured. Even with me and you, we go back, and I never have looked at you and said, tell me about your struggles. No. Tell me about, I never. Yeah. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Really probably a bad thing. But now, I think that's one of the keys is it's not saying, how do we move forward? What do we do? I need to intentionally learn what were your struggles. I know we heard someone last night say that when you're coming into somebody's movie, their life, you didn't come through the whole part. You're just coming into the end credits or to the midway, and for you to come in midway and not appreciate the beginning and the trial and the crushing and all these things.
As black people, we need to tell our story.
Yes.
You will never know my hurt if I don't tell you my story.
That's right.
And you may not know. You don't have to tell your son the talk. You don't have to have your son talk. I had to have the talk with my son. When you get stopped, keep your hands on the steering wheel.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. No, sir.
Yeah.
Don't move until they tell you to.
Yeah.
Because of the color of your skin. My dad gave me that story. I gave him that story. And it's sad that my son maybe is going to have to give his child that story one day. And so there are things that are wrong and there's things, but I still say that love will change things. Love has to change, and you change it person by person, heart by heart. In the Christian, we're in the heart-changing business. And so if we as Christians will begin to show love, that agape love, if we choose to love, because you can be a Christian and you can still have hate.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
You can have hate. And so this ministry is 95% white.
Yep.
We maybe have, I think, 10, 12 blacks maybe that come to this church. And I said I would just love for people to come and spend a couple months with us.
Yeah.
And see that the love is real.
Yeah.
And I some of my white members are put down.
Yeah.
Because they come, you go to that black church and they say, no, it's green. But we laugh at it. We go on about our business though. Yeah. But one of the things that I've found out since I've been pastoring, and this is so true, and this will help you.
Okay.
There are some people that hate your treasures and they'll love your trash.
Oh man.
Let's say it again.
Oh.
They'll hate your treasures, and they'll love your trash.
Wow.
And so as you are opening up like you're doing, as you begin to do these things and you begin to reach out and you're trying to find out and you're trying to make a difference and understand, there are some people that are going to hate you for that. Because it's going to be a treasure to you to know more.
Right.
But if you was, well, this and my opinion is this and that and like that. Oh, where'd it go, Brian?
Yeah.
Because they would love you trash. And so it's part of life.
Yeah.
It's part of what we deal with.
Yeah.
And so it goes back, I choose to love.
Yeah.
A song that I used to sing back in the day. I've been listening to a lot of my stuff, and I used to listen to back in the day. Man, it makes so much sense to me now. Yeah. It makes more sense to me as a Christian than it did back in the day when I was playing it, man. But if I start, you may know it. I don't know. You kind of young, you know. You're still young, but what the world needs now is love, sweet love.
Yeah.
It's the only thing that there's just a little of. What the world needs now is love, sweet love, not just for some, but for everyone.
Oh, yeah.
It's a love thing.
Oh, yeah.
Love will change.
Who sang that song?
Dionne Warwick?
Yeah, okay. I was thinking, I know it had to be a woman. I know it was a woman because I'm hearing it.
I think it was Dionne Warwick. Man,
right.
She's tough. Yeah, but I said, man, that makes so much sense now. That's what's needed, and that's what's changed. And so as we touch, so if I share something with you and you begin to understand, then you can share it with somebody else and they'll begin to understand, and you'll share it with somebody else and they'll begin to understand.
Right.
And it goes heart by heart by heart by heart. Everybody needs to go back and look up and see what agape means.
Yeah.
Because, that's what Jesus said. While the world was yet in sin, Christ died. I mean, he didn't go around and take a pose. You going to serve me? No.
Right.
He did it when we were in our worst mess, and that was the kind of love he had for us, and that's the kind of love he wants us to have. So there are people. Now, I have people tell me, well, I ain't there yet, but, I know for a fact right now, if a Ku Klux Klan guy in his robe and stuff was laying on the side of the road hurt, I know that God has put the love in my heart to help him.
Yeah.
I don't like his ways,
Right.
but I don't hate him.
Right.
And I could, some people ain't there yet. Mark tells me a lot of times, I ain't there yet.
One of the things that your church does in ministry, you guys feed people. And so you guys are feeding how many people on average?
Anywhere from 400 to 500 folks. Sometimes Thanksgiving it may be more than that, and Christmas may be more than that because we give a turkey with every box and thing. And we named it the Roger Jesse Food Bank. You won't find our name of our church anywhere on it because we wanted it for the whole community. But we have other churches that come and share with us and help us, and money comes and food comes from the community and all over, and then we buy a lot of stuff ourselves. So our church, we take care of the insurance, light, water bill, phone bill, everything like that. And we just, everything that comes for the food, we use it for food. Wow. And we, sometimes we have toilet paper, paper towels, all kind of items, gloves, cleaning supply, anything that folks may see in the community. And so you take a widow woman or something like that. Once she pays her bills, she doesn't have very much for food.
No.
So she can come by here.
Wow.
We load them up. So
you guys have been doing this for how many years now?
At least 25.
25 years.
25. We started off with a little cabinet.
Right.
With the vinyls and the crackers and all those things. We started off with that. And it's come to this.